guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So I am here again with the very vintage journal that we have been working on, and I have just about completed the inside of the journal. So what I thought I'd do is come along today and just switch the camera on whilst we make a few things to kind of fill the journal with. So some inserts, things like that. We may dabble with the cover. It just depends kind of how time really goes. So, you know, let's kind of crack on and, you know, just see kind of what we can achieve in the time that we've got, really. So I'm going to move the journal out of the way to begin with. And then I'm going to bring in the little pieces that I've got cut out, along with some of the sheets that I've got here to the side. Let me just grab them without dropping everything else on the floor. And I thought that we'll just literally kind of get started, you know, putting things together and making bits and pieces to kind of put in. So tags, I don't know, flip outs, things like that. And yeah, we'll just kind of see where it takes us kind of time wise, you know, how far that we get. So if we have a look and see the things that we've got so far, obviously there are a huge amount of tags and what have you. Oops, let me just get rid of this stuff here. A huge amount of tags and what have you that come with the kit. So of course we've got all of those, but we don't want to only put kind of, you know, the ready-made tags and things. We also want to kind of make some of our own. So I'm just going to take out a couple of things that I've kind of got so far. This is just a sheet of the page of paper, but I thought that was really rather nice. So I'm just going to kind of keep that folded just as kind of one to put in. We've got that gorgeous pocket, obviously, that we made that we're going to have as a floating pocket. I'm sure there was one or two other things, but I now can't locate them. And then we've got this one here that I just absolutely love. Now, what I should probably do is actually cover this up with, you know, some sheets, so you've got kind of journaling space in here. I don't want to do that because it just looks so pretty how it is. So what I'm going to do is let me grab some coffee dyed paper. Okay, so I've got some coffee dyed paper here. So, I mean, really what we should probably do with this one, so if I just kind of move this stuff, I'll put it onto my lap, I think, for the time being. So this is just two sheets of paper that have been glued together, and then I've folded them into a kind of triple fold out. I mean, I absolutely love how that looks. I love the way this rose is kind of mirrored on these two pages. I just absolutely love it. But, you know, how useful it is kind of debatable, isn't it, really? So I'm thinking what we could do is obviously kind of cut some rectangles and kind of glue them on so that we've got kind of 3 journaling spaces. The alternative to that is we could make a kind of pad in here that would just kind of flip up. And that way, obviously, I get to keep these, you know, the whole look of the pages. So I think actually in hindsight I'm going to do that, because I just can't quite bring myself to actually get rid of these gorgeous pages. So all I've got is an A4 sheet that's been coffee dyed. It's just from a kind of lined exercise book, and I'm going to fold that in half but up to the punched holes. So it's not quite in half, but you see, it will hopefully then be kind of narrow-ish, or narrow enough for that. And then what I'm going to do, I think, is kind of cut it about here. So I just cut it kind of here. And then I'm just going to cut it down where I've folded it. And then I'll just trim the other edge like that. And then this piece, we could use this in here as well, or we could keep this for making a little booklet. So I think we'll keep that one for making a booklet. But you see, now we've got a couple of little sheets that we can kind of stick in here, and it would be like a little kind of secret pad inside. And then whoever gets the journal, of course, they could then, you know, they could put the rectangles in over here if they wanted to, you know, but they may feel a bit like I do and not really want to cover those parts up. So I'm just going to have a look and see what other sheets I've got to make a bit more of the pad. So here, for instance, I've got this one, and I'm just thinking we could kind of include a couple of those sheets kind of in here as well. So I'm just going to cut that down like that. So I'm just going to pop this stuff on the floor so it's out of the way. Really appreciate everyone's comments, by the way, about my desk. And I'm just going to quickly say this because obviously I have been filming videos ahead, so this could be ages after those comments, because you know, if I've done quite a few videos in a sequence, I may still be working on it, if you see what I mean, and I may have then uploaded more recent videos because there weren't such a lot of videos to kind of upload. So, but yes, I do appreciate all those comments about my desk, and lots of people kind of saying, oh, keep the desk that you've got, you know, because you may regret it. And I am inclined to agree. I did have one or two people say, oh, why don't you show your desk? And who knows, maybe I will one day, but to be honest, I think it might just kind of cause everyone to just literally turn off and stop watching my channel altogether. So I'm not sure if it's such a good idea. Right, I'll just drop that down like that, and then take that piece there, I think. So I'm just going to kind of pop it together. Just going to trim it slightly more because it was still slightly on the wide side for the folding piece. So there we go. And then all I'm going to do is just staple them together, and I might just intermix the pages like that. So just staple them. Again, this might not be relevant by the time that I actually upload this video, but I've been inspired by Susie from Creative Cafe Girl, who's kind of set a challenge for people to start finishing off, you know, unfinished projects. So, and I've said this recently, I used to be very good and kind of not really embark on more than one thing at a time. So I would kind of start a project, finish it, and then go on to the next. I don't know quite how this has evolved, but I now have many projects on the go at one time. So I'm going to partake in that challenge and try and get on top of my projects. So I have just completed one, which was Marika's journal, which again, it may be by the time that I upload this, that may be, you know, very out of date, if you see what I mean. But, you know, to me, I've just completed hers. So literally just this morning, I've completed hers. So my next one will be this one. And then I have a few other things also that I would like to get completed. So there's another project which, again, I don't even know whether I've uploaded any of the videos at the point where I'm talking about them, using my TikTok kit. But again, I need to kind of complete that. I mean, some of it is because obviously if I'm doing kind of a sequence of videos doing a project, it's you know, sometimes hard to kind of keep the momentum going for quite a long series, whereas if you're just kind of working things yourself, it's kind of easier to just keep the momentum going and, you know, get through projects, isn't it? Right, so that's a little insert for the journal. That's completed, like how that has turned out. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. I'm not going to keep it closed because obviously I want that glue to dry. So I'm just going to pop that out of the way over there. Right, let's bring my bits and bobs back in. So might make a couple of kind of tags or something. So if I just bring the wad of kind of papers and scraps and what have you back in. So if I just have a look through. Oh, we've got the envelope as well that we've kind of already, you know, assembled. So that's another one that's kind of done. So I'm just having a look through to decide if I'm going to make a tag. I just want to decide what. I'm just moving that piece of paper because that was one I printed out when my ink was running out in my printer. So it's gone a kind of slightly strange shade. You know, which sometimes I don't mind that, but sometimes it's a little bit too bright really, so it kind of won't really tie in with anything. So I might use this portion here to make a tag. So I'm going to move these bits again out of the way. And then I'm just going to cut that down into a kind of vague tag shape / size. So if I just kind of, and I have to bear it in mind that my page has got this white strip on it, so I'm going to trim that off obviously. Trim that off here at the bottom. And then I will probably trim this down because obviously at the moment it's pretty huge. So I'm just going to grab some card to back my tag onto. So I'm just grabbing some coffee dyed cardstock because this is paper, so it wouldn't really kind of produce a particularly thick tag. Okay, so then all I'm going to do is obviously glue this down. Oops. Oh my gosh, come on. Right, just check which side I want this to be glued onto. Not that the sides are particularly different, obviously it's just coffee dyed on both sides, but I just was intrigued whether there was some sort of absolutely lovely pattern going on one side as opposed to the other. So let me just have a look and see whether I've got my Starbucks card somewhere laying around here. Yep. So just kind of spread that glue out using the card. Like that. Let's cut this down. And as you can see, I've kind of trimmed the edge off, and we've talked about kind of this in previous videos, but I like to kind of trim it in. I mean, obviously this side because this is that white border, but I like to trim it in anyway because, you know, the glue is generally not going to have made it right to the edge of the paper. And by kind of just trimming in slightly, you're more likely to kind of hit the run of the glue. So just bin those pieces. I'll keep this card because we might make another tag in a minute. So then I'm just going to just drag my bits back in and see what we might like to put here. I've got some book page, so we may include some book page. Got one of these little tags, labels, I suppose it is, isn't it? So we could just kind of pop some book page on and have that kind of there. I've got this little postcard actually, which also is these same flowers, which is kind of quite fun. Actually, let me keep that to one side in case I decide to use that. Oops. As I'm going through these things, I'm just coming across a couple of other bits that I have actually folded. Oops. Folded and kind of made ready, so I'll just kind of take them out as I come across them. So just having a look through, got this. I love all these little I don't know what you'd call them, kind of frames or labels or thingamajiggies. Oh, now I would never in a million years have put that on there, but for some reason I love how that looks, and I'm kind of thinking we could just have it hanging off of the page like that, and that just looks awesome to me. I don't know what you guys think, whether you agree, but it's one of those things that kind of I would never have dreamt of putting on, but now that it's kind of there, I just love how that looks. So I'm just going to get my scrappy piece of paper, and all I'm going to do is ink very lightly, oops, around the edge of here. Don't even need to worry about the whole thing because obviously most of it's going to be cut off the tag, but just because where I've fussy cut this, it's not gone, I'll get rid of that piece, it's not gone right to the edges in a couple of places, so I've just got slight bits of white, which, you know, I'd rather not have. So we're going to kind of pop that on like that, I think. Yeah, and if I can, I'm going to try and have it covering up this whole thing at the top. So what I should do is kind of score down so as I know roughly where to glue to. So I've just got that score line now, so I know roughly kind of where to apply my glue to. Stalk, those leaves. Just kind of going as close as I can to the edges. Okay, let me just get some more tissue from my little stash beside me, because my other tissue had kind of gone hard from the glue, so turn that over so as I don't have the gluey side there. Okay, then I can kind of press that out and hopefully kind of get any glue that's, you know, excess glue that comes out. And then I just like to turn it over so that I can, you know, run it nice and flush with the edge of the tag. Just trim that off. Yeah, I like how that looks. It's so strange because I never would have put that together in a million years, but I do kind of like it. Now I'm wondering whether to do this as a tag shaped or not, but what I have seen now, I'm happy to cut this bottom bit off. So what I'm going to do is just chop it here to make it smaller, and then obviously I need to just run some glue along any places where it's not now sealed down. And it appears it's just kind of there, so I mean, I just like to do it this way because I get the tags exactly the size that I want them then. I do love kind of enormous tags, to be honest. And I would have kept that as big as it was. But now that I've stuck that piece on, I just actually thought it would look better slightly smaller at the bottom. So I love how that looks now. So we're going to just pop that in the bin. And then I think what I'm going to do is make it actually tag shaped, which, you know, I really actually, I would say probably more often than not, don't have them kind of tag shaped. I don't know why really, but I just quite like them kind of, you know, just as great big square tags. So I'm just going to rough around the edges because I like doing that. It's really annoying because I have ordered a new ink pad and it's still not arrived yet. So it's slightly irritating because I've actually ordered kind of a couple in different colours to colours that I've ever ordered before. I'm really excited for them to arrive and they're taking forever. So, you know, I hope that I'm not going to suddenly get an email saying that they're out of stock or something, which is what sometimes happens, isn't it? You know, you kind of wait and wait and then suddenly you get an email saying that item's out of stock. But obviously, if and when they ever arrive, I will share them with you guys and show you the colours that I bought. I have bought, would you believe, a new Azure Stays On, so about time, I hear you all say. So I'm looking forward to that arriving. Looking forward to it and slightly nervous because obviously that's going to seem really juicy compared to my really very dried out one. And then I've ordered two others and I can't actually remember what they're called, so I will have to just share them with you when they come. But I think they're kind of similar-ish colours to this. So one is a stays, no, not a stays on, an archival or one of those. Oh, Memento it might be. And the other one is a distress ink. And they're both very similar colours. So I'm looking forward to them arriving and I will obviously share them when they do arrive. So now, I don't know what else to do on this tag because I actually really do love it just completely as it is. But that just seems really, really, really boring. So I'm just going to kind of have a look and see whether I can kind of pop anything else on. I mean, I don't really think it needs anything. And it does look really gorgeous, just, you know, as it is. I don't want to kind of spoil it. So I think what I might do, instead of kind of spoiling this tag, I might just make a baby tag to hang off of it. And actually, I've got this scrap here, so I will use that. Now, let's have a look. What I might do, just have a bit of a think how I'm going to do this baby tag. So probably would be best off using this strip here. And if I just cut it down. Now, let's have a look. So if I want it just a tiny kind of tag, like this, and I may kind of fussy cut around that and just have that kind of running through the middle of the tag. So if I just cut that down a bit closer. Like that. And then, oops, what I might do is if I just kind of could have probably just fussy tore these flowers, but I'll just quickly fussy cut them. I mean, again, I'm really not kind of, you know, being very careful about this. I don't know what, you know, whether I'm making a very good job of it, but hopefully it will kind of look okay once it's against the paper. So there we go. And what I thought was just kind of run them down maybe in the middle. So if I just get rid of this piece here like that, probably tear it off about here. Like that. Now I wouldn't mind having some blue on there somewhere, so let me just see. Oh, we could cut this teeny weeny bit off of this tiny piece. So let's just see. I mean, by the time I've cut it off, it might just resemble nothing. So, because sometimes I find things are so tiny, you know, when you cut them out, they literally look like nothing. You know, they're not recognizable anymore as what they originally were. And that might be the case with this. So, you know, we'll just see how it looks. Right, well, let's glue this down so that we kind of committed to that. Oops. Where did I put that card now? Find that. I only just had it literally 5 minutes ago. Already now it's disappeared. Oh well, have to make do without it. So, and then what I'm going to do is just cut this down. Just make it a baby tag like that, and we'll just see how these two bits will look, and you know how we want to have these on that tag. I mean, actually that looks pretty, so I'm going to go for that, I think. So I'm just going to glue this on. And then I did actually quite like this, I think, over the top of that, running just through the middle. Looked really nice. So I just pop that on top there. Oops. Try and get it a bit straighter. And then I'm just going to punch a hole in that. I mean, it's a pretty teeny tag, but what I thought we'd do is just grab a whole reinforcer. I really should move these because they're, you know, very much in the way, aren't they? I have to constantly be leaning across, so I do apologise. Oops. So we can just hang that on there. What I'm going to do is just rough this one up as well. And then, although we haven't really distressed anything much in this journal, I'm just going to distress this a little bit, because can you see it's not very dark compared to that other tag, which, you know, I prefer it look a bit darker, so just going to kind of darken it up a little bit. And that just kind of looks a little bit of a better match then. And then, and I did this actually in the Moonlight Memoirs journal. I made a tag using this kind of same thing on there, was to glossy accent the baby tag. So just let me decide. What I could do is just glossy accent just these red flowers. They're not red, are they? They're pink. Just these pink flowers. So if I just check that I've got those. So I'm just going to put that out of the way to dry, and then for kind of continuity, I can kind of glossy accent these pink ones as well. And then that's kind of tying in the two tags. So let me just, sorry, the glare of my lamp is kind of causing me to not be able to really see whether I've kind of got the flowers or not. Right. Okay, so I'm going to again leave that to dry, and then I will probably attach those two with maybe a bulb pin so they're attached together. So I like how they look. Right, let's bring our stuff back in. So we've got this, which is another kind of fold out, so we could make that into a little journal. Let's see what else I've got here. The thing is, these pages are so lovely, I don't kind of want to use them. It's pathetic, absolutely pathetic, I know, but it's just how I am. You know, kind of when I really love something, I don't want to use it. Right, let's make a little envelope here from this. So I'm going to kind of take it roughly. So I'll just fold this all down, and then, very wasteful I know, but I'm going to trim it down so as we've got the, you know, the centre part of the colours. Like that. And then probably want to trim it about here. I mean, that's pretty big envelope, I must say, but you know, I think it's good because we've got lots of pieces that we're going to kind of pop into here. So just going to glue this down. And I mean, obviously you could stitch this, you know, as per usual. I just, you know, I haven't got my sewing machine here, so for me it's just obviously best to just glue it. So I'm just going to glue that down. There we go. And then I'll just round the corners off on the edges of here. And then I might just put some lace, maybe just kind of on the edge, run it down along the edge. So we want it there, or would we prefer it at the top? Maybe at the top actually. This blue lace is very striking, isn't it? Actually, maybe even on that side. yeah, I find my eyes very drawn to this blue on this lace. It's really, you know, very vivid colour and really, really gorgeous to look at. It's kind of pulling me in every time, which, you know, is just lovely. I do love colour, I must say. Definitely, definitely love colour. Now, I'm just wondering whether we should have done this, you know, with one of those wind round things, because if I kind of try and stick a closure on here, it's going to kind of cover up my gentleman here, which I would rather not do. Even that small piece would kind of cover him up. Well, we could just close it with a paper clip, to be honest. So I think we'll do that. So I'm just going to run some lace down the side. Yeah, I just love this colour. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I mean, strangely enough, it's not necessarily kind of the same colour as those blue flowers, but it does kind of pick up the blue and complement it quite well. So because they're kind of varying shades, the darkest in those flowers does kind of pick up that colour, you know, so it does kind of look quite good. So there we go. And then we can obviously put lots and, you know, lots of the bits and pieces in here. So if I just grab a few randomly, we can just kind of pop them into the envelope like that. So, and then we'll just, you know, do like a little paper clip to kind of hold that closed, I think. So that's another piece done. Let's have another look through. Now I have a lot, you see, of the background pages that I obviously printed, you know, whilst kind of making this kit. So obviously I want to kind of use them up quite a bit, because obviously that, you know, I don't want to kind of waste them. So I'm just having a think now what else we could make. I mean, this is a bit strange because I would have to cover these people up, which, you know, is not ideal. So maybe what we'll do is chop this down. That white bit off. So I'm just checking what we could kind of do with this, whether, don't really want it like that. Oops. Right, so I think we're just going to have this as a kind of folding piece, just folded into kind of thirds. And then I'll have to just trim along that edge. So we'll just have that kind of like that, I think. Now, what was the other one that I had looked at and thought we're going to do something with that? So obviously this is a piece of the stationery, so we can use that. Obviously, again, we'll probably just fold that in half. So that's just kind of a stationery piece. So I've got this piece which I had been ridiculously saving. I don't know why I do things like that, but just can't help it. I really, I have no idea. don't know what that's about, but just hoarding, you know, kind of when things are too pretty and I don't kind of then want to use them. So I'm going to be ruthless and I'm going to kind of fold it in. And then I think what we'll do is actually, let's make a little kind of fold out kind of, or folding booklet type piece. So I'm just going to kind of fold this in here, like that. And then what we'll do, we'll turn it in the other way, fold it in that way. And then what we could do is kind of have this as like a, you know, fold out kind of wallet. Now, do we cut this down? It's quite large. Again, I'm being pathetic, you know, I don't want to kind of get rid of it all, so, but it was a bit too monstrous, so I didn't want it as big as all that. So we'll do it like this. And then I think what we'll do is we're going to glue this one down. Now I'm just wondering what else we could do here, because it might be fun to have some sort of other thing going on. Excuse me, I'm just fidgeting around in my chair. I've been sat down for quite a long time now this morning and just beginning to get fidgety and a bit uncomfortable. So we've got the remainder of this piece that we used. Again, that's kind of the wrong way, so let me just have a look. We've got more of that gorgeous collage page, which again, ridiculously, I've been hoarding. Now, these are printed on copy paper is the only thing, and this, you know, the main part is printed on, you know, 160 GSM. So let me just have another look in my little kind of packet beside me, because I have got a few more sheets that I had printed out also. So I'm just seeing whether I've got anything else kind of in there. Got another full sheet of the collage, so, and I've also got that one, which I think was the one that we did just put away because we said had printed out while the printer was running out of ink. Can you see the colour difference? It's quite yellowy, orangey. Right, so I'm happier with this because obviously this is then the same thickness as this. So let's have a look and see what we can kind of come up with that might be kind of interesting to do in here. Well, this is where I'm going to regret doing this and think, why have I done that when doing a video? Because now I can't come up with anything. Let me trim this down by a couple of millimetres at the edge. Just like that. And then just wondered if we fold that over, if we cut that down here, say, more. And obviously I will trim this up in a minute and kind of neaten it all up. But at the moment I'm just kind of just playing. So I had folded it kind of tentatively here. And I'm wondering if we hook that here like that. Then what we could do is we'd have this folding flap here, that then opens with then a couple of pockets also in here. So let's do that. So hopefully this will come clear once I've actually kind of glued bits down rather than having it all flapping around. So I'm going to glue it down here on the inside edge of the folding part. Then I'm going to glue it along here and along there. So this one will be a little pocket here on this flap. So I'll just mop up the excess glue. Like that. So that's our folding piece there. Like that. And then what we're going to do, we're going to glue this one in as another pocket here. This was not, in case you couldn't tell, this was not a planned part of the video. We are literally winging this as we go. So, you know, hence this is not exactly a tutorial. It's a kind of, let's see what we can kind of come up with here. Oh, I love that. We've just created a kind of new pocket thing on the fly. So let's just trim this down. Yeah, I don't think it needs coming down at the edge really, actually. Looks pretty good. Oh, I love that. So we've got a whole kind of fold out kind of booklet like that. And then, I mean, if you wanted, you know, I won't be doing this right now. Purely really because I haven't got kind of a whole abundance of paper, although I have got a couple of pieces, so bear with me for a minute. Oh no, titchy. I've got that one. Let me cut this down. So what you could do is kind of have a little booklet and then with a little folder behind, or is that better there? No, I think it's better here. Now obviously I've only got those one sheets. Just having a look through my little pile here to see if I've got anything else that's kind of flimsy enough to use as you know, as an inner page. It's a little bit annoying because I haven't really. Could use this. No, I'm going to hang on to that because I've got something else in mind for that. So I'm going to kind of try and staple this. Now, again, this is not obviously this is not ideal because this is quite big. I don't think my stapler is going to kind of be long enough to reach. No. So, and I don't have my big stapler with me at the moment. Somebody seems to have taken that out of my desk. So I'm going to have to do that in slow time. But all I'm going to do is staple a couple of staples here so that you've got a kind of booklet arrangement going on here. And then when you open it, you've got a couple of pockets here that you can just pop a couple more tags into. So, you know, quite a fun little piece that we just literally created there and then, kind of on the spur of the moment. And yeah, I actually really like it. So let me just trim this down slightly because it's just overhanging by, you know, a fraction. I'll just trim that down. That's better. And I mean, again, obviously you could round the corners. Shall we do that? Yeah, let's round the corners. Just to kind of neaten it up, really. You know, you don't have to, but I love how this has turned out. I shall make these again, I think, if I can remember how to make them. Because sometimes you kind of do things and then can't actually remember to ever create them again. I mean, obviously it's on video, but I don't tend to then go back looking at the videos. So, right, love that. And obviously you could decorate the front of that as well. I'm not going to bother, but you know, you could do. So there we go. Oops, is that a little bit big for it? I don't want it to get glued in there, so let me just trim down. Take a tiny weeny bit off of each edge, and then it's going to be a slightly better fit, because I just don't want that getting glued in there. Well, I really love that. It's really fun. So that's another kind of fold out piece to put in the journal. Now I'm a little bit concerned because obviously the pieces that we have been making are pretty big and that journal's pretty chunky anyway. So I'm just going to kind of pull it back in. I mean, as you can see, it's quite kind of chunky as it is. So I may have to kind of stop, check how these pieces are looking, because obviously, you know, they're quite kind of bulky in themselves, you know, and then we may have to kind of stop really with the bulky kind of, you know, fillers. But yeah, I hope that you kind of liked what we've made today. Obviously, we did also make this. I'm still waiting for the glossy accents to dry, but we're just going to then attach that with a bulb pin. So then you've got a little kind of double tag, which I think is really cute too. So, you know, we've made quite a few items, and yeah, I think kind of quite fun stuff. And we've also kind of come up with a new little folding kind of booklet, which, you know, really kind of nifty. So thank you very much for joining me. I don't think we've got time obviously to do the cover now because we're already up to like 53 minutes. But, you know, hopefully kind of I'll come along with that shortly. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Thanks, Em. Bye.